specifically states a person is lying.
No. You ever heard of the MMPI?
I have.
Okay. You ever heard of the K scale?
Yes.
What is that?
Well, the K scale is among the internal validity scales of the MMPI. The MMPI is an assessment of the individual's personality.
Okay. So let's focus on the K scale, sir. When you say that it's a, let me ask you again, what is your understanding of what the K scale is seeking to find out?
I answer this in the context of the purpose of the MMPI and what the MMPI is designed.
What are you smiling for? This is not funny, sir.
Sustained. Next question. You know, next question.
MMPI, K scale, focus. What does it mean, sir?
So the MMPI is an assessment of personality, and it is a set of questions that the individual responds to provide the test and to provide the user of the test to understand what is their personality like. The K scale is a set of questions embedded in the MMPI that are designed to see whether or not the individual is exaggerating in their responses, generally speaking.
Okay. Or lying, right? They call the K scale the lie scale, right?
Well, if you're simply referring to your own personality style, the issue is whether or not the answers are reliable or valid. It's not a matter of assessing if the person is lying on the MMPI.
Does the MMPI assess to any degree whether or not a person is lying, in your opinion?
No.
No? So let's stay with Dr. Mack's opinion on the K scale. What would that do? It would determine if somebody is not being truthful about their symptoms, or they're exaggerating their symptoms?
Well, the MMPI assesses the individual's personality and their thoughts about themselves. So the question is how to get an accurate reading of the person's personality. If it is the case that they are having a deviation on the K scale, then you might not utilize the MMPI as a whole. But so the MMPI is not designed, in a sense, as a lie detector.
So what does that mean, sir, when you say if there's a manipulation of the K scale? What does that mean?
I don't think I used the word manipulation.
What word did you use?
I may have said deviation.
Okay. So if there's a deviation on the K scale, according to you, what does that mean?
It may come to a threshold that the MMPI is not usable, and the users cannot gather information about the individual's personality as a result.
Because they're lying, and it's not a reliable test, right? That's the ultimate consideration, right?
Right. So it's not saying that the person is lying. It's saying that the test is not reliable.
Because the person who's the subject of the test is not being, let's say, forthright. Is that fair?
I don't know that it's always necessarily a conscious act. An individual, it simply reflects the tendency the individual has when answering the questions that are on that subpart of the test.
Okay, so if somebody has been indicted by the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office for triple murder, and you are working for the DA, evaluating whether or not they are suffering from a mental disease or defect, would you agree with me, sir, that there may be a tendency for somebody to exaggerate their symptoms to try to paint a positive picture of themselves?
Overrule.
Not necessarily.
Well, how about a little bit necessarily?
I don't know that there's a relationship.
Okay. So you are aware, regardless, that when Lindsay took the test for Dr. Kirk Halbrun, that there was no indication whatsoever of any malingering, exaggeration, or anything along those lines in that test. Would you agree with that?
If you're talking about the MMPI, correct.
That's what we've been talking about. I don't know. We're looking at each other.
I wasn't sure if he was going to answer, but let's ask the next
yeah, okay. So you, tell me again what your answer was, sir.
That effectively, that's what the testing elicited, that her K scale effectively, it was a valid test.
Okay. Now, you, in your review of all of the records, Tufts, Gelada, McLean, you knew that one of the health care providers, which would be Gelada, was focusing on the possibility that Lindsay could have been suffering from bipolar 2. Is that right?
I am aware that that was on her mind, that was something she was concerned about, yes.
And bipolar 2 is quite common, is it not, sir, as a precursor of a person who is suffering from postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis, right?
I don't understand your question.
Okay, well, how about, is it appropriate in Dr. Mack's opinion to give a person suffering from bipolar 2 or bipolar 1 an SSRI?
An individual, there is a need in one's practice, traditionally at least, that if an individual might be suffering from bipolar 1 or bipolar 2, to avoid using SSRI medications. However, that has been reduced in terms of our worry about that over time, but that was maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, something that psychiatrists were more concerned about, but the concern has lessened over time.
It has. So in your opinion, sir, it's okay to give a woman who is coming to you for help, who's been diagnosed with a bipolar 2, it's okay to give her the SSRI, in your opinion. Is that what you're telling this jury?
That's not what I said.
Oh, okay. Tell me what you said.
I said the concern about the relationship between SSRIs and mania or bipolar disorder has lessened, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people's practices have changed.
And when you say mania, what does that mean to you, sir?
Mania is a state defined in the DSM. I believe we discussed this the other day.
Well, go ahead. What is it? What are the symptoms of mania?
So mania is a condition, and it's defined not only by the symptoms that I'm going to mention, but also by a time frame. And as we discussed the other day, it is a mood state that is used as a building block for bipolar type 1. So one would need to see 7 days consecutive, and where the following symptoms, 4 at least of the following symptoms are present most of the day for all of these days. And that would include a thought process called flight of ideas. Secondly, distractibility. Thirdly, an engagement in activities that are pleasurable but have painful consequences. Rapid speech, or what we would call pressured speech.
Pressured speech.
Or rapid speech. Additionally, grandiosity and an exaggerated amount or excess degree of goal-directed behavior.
And what is your... go ahead.
Go ahead.
What is your understanding, sir, of the symptoms of bipolar 2?
So bipolar 2, well, we didn't finish the definition of bipolar 1, but in terms of bipolar type 2, one would need to have had a major depressive episode. I believe we discussed that the other day as well. And also one needs to have had what's called a hypomanic episode, which is similar to a manic episode, but lesser in terms of time course that's required, and only 3 out of the 7 symptoms are required.
So bipolar 2, you would agree with me, sir, is in fact a major or a serious mental illness, right?
Yes.
And your opinion, after you had your opportunity to go back again with Kirk on the third day and interview Lindsay in Duxbury Hospital, and how long did you interview her for the third day, asking her questions?
I'm not sure I remember. It was perhaps 3 hours.
So after you completed your evaluation, you came to a conclusion that, in fact, Lindsay was suffering from a major mental disease or defect, to wit, bipolar 2. Is that correct?
No.
No. So why don't we look at your report and you tell me what your ultimate opinion was of your diagnosis of Lindsay after evaluating her, sir.
I think I said this the other day that my
Why don't you say it again, sir?
Yes, I'm happy to. My opinion was that, and is, that she suffered from a major depressive episode, and that was a part of major depressive disorder.
Well, looking at your report, sir, on your conclusions, would you agree with... So do you have your report?
He's reading from the wrong report.
Do you have your report, sir?
Can I see it sidebar just for a second?
It's not the wrong report.
You haven't tried Kama Ayurveda's Bringraj hair oil.
That seems amazing, actually.
Yeah, that's a Bringraj that strengthens the hair.
So that's your secret to strong and thick hair.
Because great hair starts with strong roots.
You just ordered from Myntra. Congrats! You just overpaid. Every Myntra order you place without Buy Hatke Chrome extension, that's money you paid extra. Every time you check out on Myntra, Buy Hatke Chrome extension applies up to 2% discount automatically on every order using gift cards. No more hunting for coupons. No more copying codes. Over 1 million shoppers already figured this out. Have you? Install Buy Hatke Chrome extension. It's free.
So, sir, you would agree that your opinion on page 35 is that at the time of the incident, that Lindsay Clancy was suffering from a mental disease, and then you have the opinion, however, she retained substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness or criminality of her conduct. Is that correct? Did I read that right? And the mental disease from which she suffered, in your opinion, was a mood disorder, major depressive episode. Is that right?
Yes.
And you further opined that she may have also had an anxiety disorder that preceded or continued to be present while the major depressive episode proceeded through January 24th. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're aware that she has been at Duxbury under a particular diagnosis of a mental disease or defect, right?
Yes.
What is that?
I believe it's adjustment disorder.
Adjustment disorder. Is it not your understanding, sir, that she's suffering, according to diagnosis, bipolar disorder?
I think well, you'd have to show me where you're referring to.
So, did you have a chance to review Dr. Helbrin's report?
I did.
And do you know what Dr. Helbrin's opinion was of the diagnosis?
In terms of
diagnosis.
Yes.
What was it?
I think he made a diagnosis of bipolar type 2.
So you have nurse practitioner Gelada, who, as a treating practitioner, indicates that the diagnosis possibly is bipolar disorder, correct?
I don't know that she used those terms, but I know that she was concerned about the possibility.
And you know, because you've obviously read and incorporated into your report Dr. Resnick's opinion, correct?
Correct.
And what is Dr. Resnick's opinion, sir, to your understanding?
In terms of the diagnosis?
Yeah.
Bipolar type 2.
Okay. How about Dr. Zeisel? You also had access to and incorporated into his report, your report, his diagnosis. What was that?
Now, offhand, I don't remember what his diagnosis was.
How about Meg Spinelli? Did you have a chance to review her report and incorporate that into your report?
I reviewed her report.
Do you know what her diagnosis was, sir?
I believe it was bipolar type 1.
Right. So with all of the various healthcare providers that have an opinion of bipolar type 1, would you agree that that is a very strong indicator that a person could very well be suffering from postpartum depression?
I'm confused by your question because that last piece is not necessarily inconsistent with the diagnosis of major depressive episode.
I'm asking you, sir, about
your... What I discussed the other day was when that specifier is able to be used, that would be a diagnostic question.
So with the understanding that nurse practitioner Gelada is bipolar, or looking at bipolar, that Zeisel report, you don't know or recall what it is, but you incorporated it into your report. Dr. Resnick is bipolar 2. You feel that this is or is not indicative of a precursor to a person suffering from postpartum depression? It's in the books, in the articles, right?
Your use of terms, to me, seems apples and oranges. The question of postpartum depression would be, does the person have a mood disorder, and is it in the time frame following birth?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
So,
I can't, can you say that again, please?
we're talking about categories that are not aligned with each other.
No, I'm asking you what your answer was, okay? What's your answer?
You'd have to restate the question.
Okay. You recall Friday, sir, that you were talking about onset of postpartum depression symptoms occurring within a particular time frame. Do you recall that, sir?
The diagnosis would be
my question is simple. Do you
episode.
recall saying what the time frame was Friday?
I'm trying to answer your question.
What is the time frame?
The time frame designated for the diagnostic specifier called with postpartum onset is 4 weeks.
Okay. And that's your opinion, right?
Well, I believe that's what the DSM says.
Okay. So let's talk about
the 4-week period. The 4-week period in which that specifier may be added.
Okay. You recall saying
the
that
diagnostic rule.
You recall saying that a person can be postpartum and it has to be within 4 weeks. Do you recall saying that Friday?
What I would have intended to say.
No. What did you say to the? Come on. What did you say to the jury last Friday?
Doctor, please listen to the question and just answer the question as asked, okay? And then if the Commonwealth has any redirect, they can follow up with their questions. Go ahead.
Thank you. Do you recall saying that the person has to be postpartum within 4 weeks, according to the DSM? Recall saying that?
To meet that specifier, yes.
Right. Well, do you understand, sir, that every woman that has a baby for the rest of their life is postpartum? Because postpartum, quite frankly, means having a baby, right?
Sure.
So
but